But anyways, I made it. But I have a crazy story for you. I got to my hotel for the first time in forever. No, literally the first time ever. I had a situation that made me feel unsafe at my hotel. Okay, actually, I take that back. There was a time, Memphis. I avoid overnights in Memphis ever since my last one because I literally felt like I was going to get kidnapped every 5 seconds. I had like 2 people jump out of cars right beside me on the street and then start following me. 2 different occurrences of that. One walking to the coffee shop that I went to, and then one walking back from the coffee shop that I went to. I had the front desk guy say, "Hey, are you spending the night tonight? I saw you're in room blah, blah, blah. I was wondering if I could take you out on a date." I didn't even tell you my name, sir. How do you know where I'm staying tonight? And what? That is so inappropriate in your job role. Anyway, and then I also went out with my crew, and we were just walking around downtown Memphis. And one of my crew pushed me into, like, gently, like, corralled me into a gift shop. And he explained to me later, after he pushed me into the gift shop, that he had seen a guy that was like following us for a little while, and the guy was right behind me and pulled out a knife. And so he shoved me into the gift shop. I don't like Memphis. No thanks. No thanks. I'm good. I avoid Memphis. Okay? Anyways, other than that, I haven't really had any issues where I feel unsafe except for today, where I got off the elevator. There was a guy that looked like he was about to walk onto the elevator, and I said, "Hey, just so you know, this elevator's going up," because he was on the 7th floor, and I was assuming he was trying to go down. If you're at the elevator, most of the time, if you're already on a higher floor, you're trying to go down to the lobby. So I just said, "Hey, just so you know, it's going up." And he said, "Oh, that's okay." And then he started like following me. I'm like, "It's weird. I thought you were taking the elevator." And then he asked me if this guy starts following me, kind of, and just like walking behind me. And he said, "Hey, can I ask you a question?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." He was like, "Can you get me a job at the airlines?" And I was like, "Not necessarily." And I was like, "I'm not really in charge." He was like, "Why not?" And I was like, "I'm not really in charge of hiring. Like, I can tell you how to apply, but the position has to be open." And he was like, "You can't just like tell them to give me a job at the airlines?" And I was like, "No, that's not how it works." He seemed to be like confused or under the influence of something, maybe drug. I don't know. Okay. But just not fully there. And he started to like meander down the hallway. I was at the very, very last room of the hallway. So fun. So I walk all the way to the end, pretty much at the end of the hallway, and I am between the 2 rooms. I haven't stepped towards either room yet. So then I turn around, and he's still like meandering, making his way towards me. And I just say, "Hey, do you know where you're going?" Because he didn't seem like he was going towards a specific room. And there was a little inlet, like, where some of the rooms, like, the wall pushed in, so like you could hide behind the wall, kind of. And he seemed to meander behind the wall, and then he like popped out again. And I was like, "Do you know where you're going?" Because I'm like, why would you get that close to a door without going in it? And then he kept on coming down the hallway. And so he's like, "Yeah, I do." And I was like, "Oh, where are you going?" And he was like, "Next door." And I'm like, there is no next door to me, because like, unless you're like behind me, like in the room behind me across the hallway. And I was like, "Oh." And I like stood back, and I opened up space for him to go to the door across from me, and I just waited. And he continues to come down the hallway all the way towards me, and I wait because I'm like, I'm gonna watch you go into your door, because I don't understand what you're doing right now. You seem very confused. And he goes to open the stairwell, and he turns back around to me, and he said, "I was confused." And he was like, "And you should be nicer." And I said, I reiterated to him, "I just asked you if you knew where you were going, because you seemed confused. And I didn't understand why you were following me." I said that. And then I went to go open my door, and guess what? It didn't open. And the light on the lock turned green. You heard the little thing unlock, but I couldn't get the door open. And I was like, great. This guy followed me, is now in the stairwell, and I can't get my door open. I don't want to be in this room. I don't want him to know that I'm here. I don't want to be potentially stuck in. I don't want to be potentially in a room that I could get stuck in and not be able to open the door very well, because that's weird. Okay? And then this guy potentially knows that I'm in this room at the end of the hallway with a door that's having issues. And so I went downstairs and I was like, I just need to switch rooms. Here's the situation. Okay? And you need to have maintenance come check that door. Yeah, it was a whole thing. But it was reported. It's good. I was given a different room. I didn't see the guy again. I had them check the stairwell. So, fun day.